Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I was just preparing for talking about face mapping because it's something that is newer for me. But one thing that I know many of us out there can relate to it's having had acne. When we were teenagers, when we hit puberty with hormonal changes, and maybe in some cases you still struggle with the occasional breakouts even now, right? Which is so uncomfortable and awkward, and it definitely affects our self-esteem and how we feel. So imagine, and I guess for many of you that do have kids that struggle with acne, how that feels with this day and age where it's all about selfies and taking pictures and posting them and just not feeling confident. So I was doing a little research, and this was also from a coworker of mine who chose this topic, and I thought it was so appropriate. There are these interesting pictures online that talk about decoding your pimples. So I'm going to kind of break this down, but it points out the different areas and the most common areas where we get acne and breakouts, and that there may actually be some contributing factors that we can control. So I know not everything is going to be controllable, but in many cases we can watch diet, we can increase water intake. There's lots of different things that we can do. So we're going to talk about what triggers breakouts on our face. And that would be your chin, your forehead, your jawline. I used to get a lot of breakouts on my jawline, your nose, and you scrub and you wash and you exfoliate and you do all of these things. So we're going to try to get to the bottom of it and figure out what it could be. Because like I said, it could be a combination of hormones, of stress, of diet, of hygiene. Those all could be playing a huge role in why we break out and where we break out. So, like I said, these illustrations are online and they're really kind of cool. So we're going to talk about, and this is an article taken from Teen Vogue. We're going to start with the forehead area. So if you have a son or a daughter, or if you wear hats a lot, there's a definite concern that it could be the friction from your hat that creates pimples along the forehead line, or if you're using heavy hair care products, leave-in treatments, for example, that can clog pores. Also, stress can be a part of an issue, and it shows up here. And so what is recommended is trying a treatment product like salicylic acid. So I know that we offer that in a Willa Beauty line, and that's pretty cool. So that's a couple things that might be contributing to forehead pimples. Okay, the nose. This area here has, it's full of dilated pores, okay, which is why a lot of times you see blackheads, pardon me. And so in this instance, what the article recommended was checking your makeup, making sure that it's not expired, and also washing your brushes. I think that that's something we need to get our kids in the habit of doing. We ourselves need to get in the habit of doing. Make it a weekly thing where you clean your brushes, you take your makeup, you check your makeup for the expiration date, and you make sure it doesn't have any clog pouring ingredients in that makeup. Okay, now we're going to talk about between the brows, so really more of this like T-zone area. And according to this face mapping that I found online, the T-zone represents if you have a lot of issues there: poor circulation, puberty, stress, coffee, alcohol. It's also the area where allergies tend to show up first. The main culprits are going to be lactose intolerant or a diet high in unhealthy fats like fast food, foods with lots of preservatives in them, all that sort of thing. So if you notice that your teenager is really hooked on that type of diet and they struggle with a lot of congestion and issues in the T-zone area, that could be one of the reasons why. Okay, now we're going to talk about cheeks. And here is really important. When I was taking a look at the face mapping, it listed things that I already was familiar with: bacteria from a cell phone, washing your cell phone, touching your face, smoking, dirty pillowcases. We don't think about it, but it could be pillowcases that are holding on to germs and dirt and debris, and especially if you have teenagers in your household that aren't washing their face before they go to bed. So being our largest organ, when you go outdoors, when your kids go outdoors, right, all the pollutants, the dirt and debris in the air cling to our skin, literally cling right onto our skin. So even for the guys that are out there that don't wear makeup, or the girls that are non-makeup wearers, it's still so important to get in the habit of washing your face. And I will just say this is an amazing cleanser from Willa, and it has the sal acid in it. So it's super, super important, because otherwise they're just carrying that into their bed and kind of pushing it into their pillow. So that's the other tip as far as why there may be a heavier congestion or more pimples in the cheek area. Okay. The other area that was discussed is the chin and the jawline. So if you notice, whether this is for yourself or for your teenagers, that you're getting a lot of acne in this area here, it's most likely due to hormones. I know that for me, at one stage in my life when I was going through a lot of stress, I had really deep, hard, more like a cystic acne along this jaw area. So I knew for sure that it had to do a lot with stress and not eating very healthy. So I think it's important here that it's about drinking lots of water, getting a regular amount of sleep, limiting your coffee, limiting your alcohol, limiting your salt intake, right? All of those things. It's all things in moderation. That's what it is. Okay. The next area, believe it or not, ears. If you notice that you get acne or pimples around your ears, this is either you or your kids. This is the area associated with the kidneys. And again, it's so interesting that they do this face mapping. I never really heard about it before. And it says, of course, to drink more water, cut down on salt, cut down on caffeine. So all of these messages I know you've heard before, we've all heard them before, but I do understand when it comes to teenagers, certainly, and how sensitive they are, and how maybe they don't want to talk about these types of things, but at the same time, you're noticing that their confidence has dropped, that they're not as outgoing or social as they were. I know that you, as a parent, as a caregiver, as a loved one, want to help them in any way you can. This might be really beneficial. So, just to recap, it would be about getting on a regular sleep schedule, eating healthy, that includes drinking lots of water, breathing clean air. Some people live in cities where they're very congested. Breathing clean air is super important. And washing your face at night, changing pillowcases, cleaning makeup brushes. So all of these things can actually help kind of control acnes and pimple flare-ups and all of that sort of thing. So it's really important. And I think if you want to check out the Willa line of skincare with the sal acid, incorporating salicylic acid into your routine is also going to be very effective. So please subscribe to our Willing Beauty channel. We'll be chatting with more beauty insights. Happy Friday. Next week, I'll be going live in the mornings, and I'll hopefully give you a heads up as far as what time, but I really appreciate you joining. Leave your comments below. Have a great weekend, everyone.